Good morning, Tiki fam. It's a beautiful Sunday here in Wisconsin. The sun is shining, it's wonderfully warm, which means it's time for some cars and coffee. But first, we're gonna take a look at one of our brand new imports, not those, from Australia. Good morning, Tiki fam, from an excellent Cars and Coffee down here at the Milwaukee lakefront at McKinley Marina. Today, we've got a special treat for you guys as I trip over a curb. We have a little walkabout of our Holden VX Utility that came in about a month ago. And for those who are unfamiliar, these are Utes. Now, Holden is a GM product, but it was exclusive to Australia. And these guys are not exactly common by any stretch of the imagination in America because Australian imports are pretty much in their infancy. Now, originally, Australia had a pretty good export channel, but unfortunately enough, COVID-19 pretty much put the boots to that. So now, when you see one of these guys in person, you know it's pretty much a rarity. In fact, I think there are only two in the entire state of Wisconsin. So, some backstory on this. This car is owned by Tom, and he reached out to me a couple of years ago, right here at McKinley Marina, to talk about this wonderful Ute and then when it would be import legal. And it turns out that import legality started in January of 2026. So around November of last year, we started to really get the paperwork rolling and get this guy in a boat. And then by the time the summer rolled around, here it is.
Yeah, this is all entirely untouched, except for my professional subwoofer wiring, you can see.
Excellent. Well, you know what? It's certainly better than a lot of the JDM wiring that I've seen. So this is an LS1 engine. The later models, which are just about import legal, did have LS2s. This one's 4-speed automatic?
Yeah, for now.
For now. And then he's got this absolutely excellent radio in here with the analog needles and everything about this car, like the red gauges too, are just stellar. Absolutely cool. I just love everything about this. And you know what? One of the absolute coolest things about this truck, this Ute, this car, this, in between, is the fact that we have dash cam footage of this vehicle making its way from downtown Sydney all the way here to Wisconsin. So what I would love to do is show you guys that. So stick around. We're about to take a look at that. I'll be narrating the journey throughout. Now, in the intro, I did cut in some footage of just driving around Sydney, specifically the Parramatta area, because when Tom visited his home in Australia, he did get to drive this around a little bit before bringing it to port. And I just thought it was pretty cool just to see driving around in its, former home before it makes the journey to America, likely the last time it'll ever see Australian roads, which is kind of bittersweet, but also very cool at the same time. Now, Parramatta is in the western suburbs of Sydney, so we don't get to see the iconic Bay Bridge, but we do get to see another famous bridge here in Sydney, and this is the Anzac Bridge on the western side. Sydney is the largest city in Australia, so that doesn't leave a whole lot of room for port facilities within the city limits, so we're going to drive about an hour south to the city of Port Kembla. This is where the East Coast primary autoliner terminal is. So right about here, we're going to be dropping off the vehicle to the port staff. They're going to prepare it accordingly and get it on a boat. Now, you'll see a lot of the vehicles around our Holden Ute are not import legal into the United States. This is because the United States isn't the first destination of our boat. The first destination here is actually Yokohama, Japan, which has a certain irony to it, because that's where the vehicle is going to be processed and then shipped off to the United States. So some of these other vehicles are actually going to Japan, China, Korea, and tons of other places around the world. Now, much like our AZ1 in Japan, there was a significant portion of carriers bringing the vehicle from holding lot to holding lot. In this case, it looks like this is actually the same day, so it's probably from the port processing facility to the actual dock area where these are going to load onto our auto liner. Looks like we're going to leave a little Mazda behind and pull in behind a Kia Stinger. Now don't be fooled as we follow this Kia Stinger into a giant teal warehouse. That's no warehouse, that's the Parsifal. That's our auto liner that's going to carry us all the way from Port Kembla all the way up to Yokohama, Japan. And then after that, we're going to go through the Panama Canal all the way around to the Port of Baltimore. Now, this boat is colossal, to say the least. This is certainly a little bit smaller than the last boat we saw from Japan with our AZ-1, but it's by no means small by any stretch. As you can see, the interior of this is truly cavernous, and it is loaded to the gills with cars on every single level. It's big enough that on the left there, you can see coach buses being shipped around the globe, which is crazy. But as we make our way up to the next deck, you can just see how many cars are being crammed into this colossal boat. I'm going to cut it down a little bit because there's quite the stop and go traffic as everybody gets into position. But that's certainly one of the things you probably never expected to hear, which is there's a light traffic jam on the deck of the boat. As we turn the corner here, we can see some Mustangs and Jeep Wranglers. Both are quite popular in the auto enthusiast circles in Japan, so I'm certainly not surprised to see them here. As we get into position, they're going to park the vehicle and then strap it down, likely disconnect the battery here to prevent anything on the ship. And this is where we're going to sit for a couple of weeks as we sail halfway around the world from Australia all the way to America. So I stand corrected because it looks like they're consolidating the vehicles a little bit more, and the port staff is guiding us over here to actually sit with some JDM royalty. So from this spot, I can see an R33, Nissan Skyline, an S15 Silvia, and what looks like a Toyota Supra over there as well. And if you take a close look, you can actually see the tie downs on each vehicle to prevent these guys from being tossed around at rough seas. In fact, the Supra even has its hood up because that's likely signs that they're disconnecting the battery. Now with that license plate in front of us, we are definitely in Yokohama, Japan. You can see a number of cars have been offloaded, but it does look like that R33 is going to be making the journey with us, and it does look like there's another Toyota Supra up in front of us. I can't quite tell what that white car is in the screen, but I'm sure we've got more JDM legends that are making the journey with us here. As we're moving, it does look like that's a Toyota Chaser, the white car right there. And we are moving throughout the boat, but this is definitely in Japan. I don't think we're actually going to get off the boat because that would end up requiring a new bill of lading. But they're probably going to put us on some other portion of the ship for the time being, just to consolidate all the cars into one small area. You can see the exit over there. It doesn't look like we're going for it, so we see the daylight, but we're not escaping the confines of the ship for several more weeks, unfortunately enough. But all of the various cars on this area have been cleared right out, and it looks like the JDM things are about to get loaded onto America. So we are going to go up and down a couple of ramps here, and we'll get our final parking space for the next leg of the journey. All right, with our hood up, it looks like we're going to snuggle ourselves into our final parking space for the journey through the Panama Canal, and I think the next clip is going to be us leaving the Parsifal for the Port of Baltimore. You can see from the Dodge Caravan entering the frame that we have finally reached the Port of Baltimore. In fact, if you look down at the bottom of the screen, you can see that our time code has progressed from March 6th all the way to April 20th. So we have been on this boat about a month and a half since leaving Japan, and hopefully we'll be rolling out of here to American shores pretty soon. All right, from here we are going down the first ramp, checking out some excavators over there. And we weren't too high up. We were on the first major deck here on the Parsifal coming in from Yokohama, so we can see the outside. That's excellent. So we are feet from freedom here. But first, of course, we have to have a little traffic jam here on the boat. This is a custom slab for special loads, cars that are too low, things that can't move under their own power. So it looks like they're muscling this one on before we're able to disembark. But with that cleared out of the way, our way to the Port of Baltimore is wide open. Seeing daylight for the first time in a month and a half is pretty exciting. And now here we are rolling off the boat to a wonderful early spring day here in Baltimore. overcast as is tradition with these guys. And here we go, rolling off to see the various loaders. My goodness, that is a serious piece of equipment right there. And here we go. First wheels on American soil. This is excellent. Tons of equipment over here. So this must be a pretty major port for industrial stuff. But here we go. Driving down along the entire length of the Parseval. And you can just truly appreciate how colossal this thing is. And here we go, rolling past a line of tractors, likely for export, around what looks like a Land Rover Defender. And there's our Dodge Caravan pilot vehicle. Looks like we're going to take a stop right here. I hope this isn't our last stop because, unfortunately enough, there's no cool JDM things around us, so... Alright, looks like we don't get any cool cars around us other than some new Nissans, but this is pretty cool because we didn't get to see this with our AZ1. This is our Chariot back to Wisconsin from Baltimore, so checking this part out is pretty nifty. We're going to load this guy up on the trailer and then looks like we'll be on our way. So about a week and a half jump here and we'll probably be back at Wisconsin in about 24 hours. All right, I was off. It's been 23 hours, and we're offloading here on a nice May afternoon in the greater Milwaukee area, and our Holden VX Utility has just crossed the entirety of the globe to get right here. So this is fantastic that it's safely delivered in wonderful condition, and now the owner, Tom, can enjoy the absolute heck out of it. And with that, the journey is over, but the adventure here in Wisconsin has just begun. Thanks, everyone, for sticking around and enjoying this entire process. I absolutely love these videos and showing off the entirety of the process of importing a car from the car's perspective. But if you enjoyed it, drop a like. Thanks everybody for being here, and we'll be talking to you in the next one pretty soon.